What's up, buddy? So today we're taking a look at Nuclear Strike, and which settings looks the best for this game in DuckStation. So we're starting here with the default settings, which is internal resolution of 1x, dithering is turned off or set to true color, and the scaling is bilinear smooth. And yeah, I would say this looks pretty good here. It's not exactly all that sharp, it is quite blurry, but well, for this game I would say that's probably a good thing, given that this has some quite low quality textures here. But can we get things to look a little bit nicer than this? Maybe. Well, first of all, let's try to change the scaling here from bilinear smooth to nearest neighbor, which well, it makes all the pixels a lot more sharper, and it's a lot more pixelated here. And yeah, for this game I would say that works pretty good here. I usually prefer it to be a little bit more blurry for 3D PlayStation 1 games here, but for this one I would say it still looks pretty good here. Well, let's go back to bilinear smooth as a comparison. There we go. Yeah, I would say both of these works pretty good here, but I think I would prefer it to be the more pixelated nearest neighbor a little bit here. So yeah, but yeah, both of these looks pretty good here. But next up, let's try to change the internal resolution to this recording's resolution, which is 4K. There we go. And yeah, it's a lot more crispier, but well, you can also see all the defects a lot more here. So it's quite noticeable how the geometry kinda bubbles around here, or the 3D objects. We do have geometry correction here, so well, let's turn on that. That makes things look a lot better with the 3D objects there, so nice. But we do still have these textures, which doesn't exactly look amazing. Yeah, I usually prefer 3D games or old 3D games like these to be more consistent in the graphics. So yeah, things doesn't exactly blend in all that well here. I would say it still works alright, but yeah, those textures are very noticeable here. But yeah, I would say it still looks alright. I have tried to do some changes here with the texture filtering here, but none of these really work all that well there. And well, also for a lot of these ones, it kind of makes it so they don't blend the textures when we try that. That doesn't really work. But next up, let's try to turn on dithering here, because in this game it doesn't really work like it usually does in most PlayStation 1 games. So this is turned off here, and here it is on. And it kind of adds a little bit detail here to the terrain here. So yeah, that should probably be turned on here. Let's go back to true color, or turned off. There it is. And yeah, I would say that's a kind of easy choice there. This definitely looks a little bit better, and well, this train giving it a little bit more detail definitely doesn't hurt here. But for the 4K, that's not amazing, but alright. But next up, let's try downsampling. So the internal resolution is still 4K here, and there we go. And what this does here is that the internal resolution is still 4K, and that is then downsampled back to native resolution, which, well, it's a pretty good alternative to just going with the default settings. It's pretty close to that, but it's a little bit more smoother. And yeah, I would say this is probably my preferred way to play this game here. Everything blends in a lot better here with these settings. The default settings also looks quite good here. And I guess those are a little bit more chunkier, so, or how would we call that, with the default settings, which in some ways kind of looks a little bit better. So we have in the water here, for example, underneath this house, it kind of looks a little bit weird, but if we go back to 1x resolution, that would be the same as the default there. yeah, I would say for that case it looks a little bit better. But for the rest there, I think if things maybe blend in a little bit better here with the downsampling turned on there. So yeah, I would think I would prefer this, but both the 1x internal resolution and this downsampled resolution works pretty good. Scaling also, let's see how it looks here with nearest neighbor. There we go. And again there, both of these would work pretty well, but I think I prefer it a little bit more with a little bit sharper here. Let's go back to bilinear smooth. There we go. Well, it's not much of a difference here. Both of these would work pretty good. Let's have a look at those textures there. Those are quite noticeable. There we go. And also the text look a little bit better here with the nearest neighbor. So yeah, let's load our little quick save here. Now we're running out of fuel. There we go. So that was that. Next, another technical setting I usually prefer when it comes to 3D PlayStation 1 game is if we go to advanced and turn on multi-sampling here. However, for this game I don't think that works very well. It's kind of the same thing as with just going with the 4K resolution. Things doesn't blend in all that well. It's a little bit better than just going with 4K there, but yeah, it's still not better, so I'm not gonna have a look at that. We also have to mention here, if we go to the side, which you can't really see here, if we go to console, we do have CPU emulation here where we can overclock the emulated CPU. And yeah, if we have that little thing here. If we turn this all the way up, we can get a very nice frame rate here compared to how it is by default. Yeah, this game doesn't exactly have a amazing frame rate. And well, for parts of this game this looks really nice here. There are on the other hand other parts that where things kinda looks like it's a little bit too or things kinda run a little bit too fast there. So even though this looks quite nice here, for the most part there are other parts that kinda looks a little bit weird. So yeah, I would keep this turned off here, but I thought I at least mentioned that you can get a really nice frame rate with that. So yeah, last thing to have a look at would be the widescreen rendering. So yeah, let's have a look at that next. Alright, well, here we go. This is 16:9 widescreen here, and yeah, for this game it doesn't work all that well. It is quite distracting to have all of this to the side of the screen here, but we can on the other hand make a custom aspect ratio and turn it to, or make it so it's a little bit wider than the default 4:3. So yeah, let's try that. Here we go. This is 13:9 aspect ratio here. It's not much wider than the 4:3, but well, at least a little bit wider. So yeah, let's go back. Here is 4:3. Have that building on the side of the screen there, something like that. And here is the 13:9. So yeah, not much of a difference there, but well, we can at least get it to be a little bit wider than the default here if we wanted. So yeah, I guess that's nice at least. Anyway, this will be it for this video. You all stay awesome, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.